Yo, 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 what up, what up? We are back again for another episode of Dead Religion. It's your boy Dave Vito, and I got my homie, my bro with the gumbo, the man with the boudin. His name is Jerome Colbert. Say what's up to the people, man.
He cracked me up, man. What's going on, good people? We're back again just to share a little bit of love with you guys and just continue to have these conversations, man, and talk about what God is doing in our lives.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. So look, first week we talked about what is fear. Second week we talked about what is faith. And I thought it would be very important to discuss how faith and fear are similar. Because believe it or not, they actually are similar. So if you remember in the first episode, we had an acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real. And then last week's episode, we talk about faith being the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So for me, when I think of how faith and fear are both similar, they both have evidence. There's evidence that they exist. There's evidence because you can feel it. There's evidence because of the thoughts in your head and the thoughts in your mind. But one tells you what can go wrong. There's evidence of what can go wrong. The other one gives you evidence of what is possible. And so I thought it would just be fitting to start with that, man. I thought it was one of the most cool things to be able to actually tie it in is the fact that fear and faith are so similar because they both have evidence.
Right.
What you think?
No, I agree. And they both are super powerful and they affect your life differently. So it really comes down to where you are with your walk with God and how you let them impact your feelings, your mind, and then ultimately what happens in your life.
Your mind, will, and emotions.
If you're young in your walk, then you might be making different decisions that are fear-driven. But if you're confident in your walk with God and you've been on that journey, you know that God is the center of everything. That faith walk is a lot different.
That's right.
But they're all on that same line. So.
That's right, man. Good. Hey, I'm with you on that 100%, man. I think a lot of times when people have fear-based relationships, they feel good in the moment, but as soon as something goes bad or whenever you're triggered right into, maybe an experience that you had in the past or maybe, certain behaviors that remind you of certain things and you start having those trauma responses, fear-based relationships, you end up sabotaging them, right? Where when you have faith-based relationships, they feel good for the moment, but when them trying times come, you can lean on the hope of what the situation is not bringing and what you cannot see because you know that your outcome is destined for a lot better. And instead of sabotaging your relationship, you end up salvaging your relationship and you end up thriving in it. For me, fear is survival mode and faith is thrive mode.
Yeah. And it again, so it's what are you trusting in? Are you trusting in the fear of that decision or that relationship to keep you in a place where you're comfortable, or if you're trusting in the faith that the power of that relationship is right and, the end result is going to be something that is going to be a butterfly effect versus, a caterpillar where, you don't know what it's going to grow into and how it's going to develop.
Yeah.
So you just got to understand that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think another way that faith and fear are similar is that they both have unknowns to them. Yeah. Fear is, man, I can't do that.
And the yang.
Oh, come on, man. You already know, man. You going there with me, man. Talk to the people about talk to them about this unknown from both sides.
Yeah, just fear is just uncertainty because you step into something and you allow it to really shift you. And we talked about it earlier in the episode. It paralyzes your judgments a lot of times. So that unknown really can defeat a person and can place a person in a place where it's really difficult to come out of. And the unknown of faith is God has already did the impossible for you. And if you're trusting and being faithful in all the decisions that you make through God, then the victory is already won. Mm-hmm.
So, when I think about the unknowns, I think about our dreams. All right, everybody has a dream. You know, some want to be ball players, some want to be singers and entertainers, you know, some want to be a doctor, you know, a lawyer. Like, think about all of the dreams that you have in your life, all the things that you want to accomplish, right? Like the ultimate outcome for you. And tell me if that's known or unknown, right? Most of us that have dreams, we don't know how we're going to get there. We don't know how they're going to come true. There's absolutely no guarantee that we'll ever even be able to live out our dreams, right? Some of the greatest entertainers of our time and even in the past, they didn't have a guarantee that they would actually make it. But something was a differentiating factor in them that allowed them to keep going to the point where they finally broke through and they had success. I think about Steve Harvey. He's one of my one of my favorite people to follow and to listen to, you know, as far as his story. There's people who have literally slept in cars and been homeless, you know what I'm saying? But all in pursuit of that dream, that outcome, that expectation, that finality, you know what I'm saying? And so fear, once you start hitting some of those things, like fear will kill more dreams than faith ever will.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you'll never even get to a point where you'll sleep in a car. You know what I'm saying? Or where you know what I'm saying, may work as a busboy, work 3 or 4 jobs to get yourself through college or whatever the case might be, because that fear is going to prevent you from being able to even take that step forward. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you have faith in the unknown, faith literally feels all the same emotions as fear. It's the same worry, it's the same doubts, it's the same anxiety, it's the same voices in your head. The unknown is 100% the same. But the difference is that hope. It's just that little mustard size piece of hope that you have within yourself that says, hey, but perhaps it is possible. Maybe this will happen to me. If I just try a little harder, if I don't give up, if I just keep going, it's the little extra oomph that allows you to say, you know what? If I got to sleep in my car, I'll sleep in my car. If I've got a penny pinch and work 3, 4 jobs and eat ramen, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not disrespecting anybody that has to do those things, right? But think about the greatest stories that are ever told. The greatest stories that are ever told, the ones that we admire, the ones that we love and respect, the ones that live on and on past the time. Even they'll be dead and gone and we're still talking about the same people, the same heroes, the same stories. Those are all the people that looked fear in the face, that faced some of the most craziest, most adversity, most unbelievable of circumstances, and yet they still chose to go forth and become all that they were created to be. And as a result of that, they went on to accomplish magnificent feats. Things that people thought were impossible all of a sudden became possible because people decided to say, hey, I'm not going to let fear stand in the way. I'm not going to let this unknown determine my outcome. I'm going to face this unknown, and even if I have to travel it by myself on a road where no one is on my left and no one is on my right, I will get to my destination come whatever may come, because I will not let the unknown stop me from doing everything that I can do.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of fire you just breathed out. Seriously, that was some really good stuff. But then I'll just circle back around to like the unknown. A great example of that is you going for a job interview. And a lot of people allow fear to creep in initially leading up to the interview process. They're scared to go through the process and not really having certainty of how they're going to perform in that situation. But if you go in there with faith and you're claiming that the job is already yours, it gives you that confidence and it gives you that power to know that, hey, this is a door that God has opened for me. If that door is for me to, that door is already open for me to walk in, then I know God has already ordained it for me. So we just got to put those things into perspective a lot of times and let God be the center of how we just live life and not be fear-based with anything.
See, man, I love that, because you're 100% right, man. How many times have you went into a job interview or had to take an exam? I was in the military, man. Let me tell you something, man. I hyped this whole thing up before I got day one, man, in the military, man. I literally thought I was going to die. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so many times we end up getting those outcomes that we feared for because we went into it believing that that was going to be the outcome.
We literally talk ourselves out of things.
That's right. That's right. You talk yourself out of that A because you keep thinking you're going to get an F.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You talk yourself out that job because you keep saying they're going to ask me a question that I'm going to stumble on.
Right.
And guess what? You end up stumbling, right? Rather than saying, hey, you know what? I can, I will, I must. To me, that's the difference between faith and fear. Although they both have the unknowns, faith will always get you through the unknown.
Yeah.
Fear will always prevent you from going through the unknown.
And like we said earlier, like they're both similar, but again, it goes back to where you at with your walk with God and knowing the difference, the real difference between fear and faith through God.
Yep.
And knowing that God has already secured everything for you.
He already
Literally
knows.
everything.
He already knows. He got the end from the beginning,
It's
man.
a beautiful picture.
You know why I think that fear and faith are very similar? Maybe you haven't thought about this, man, but they both require us to believe in something we cannot see.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
both require us to believe in something we cannot see. You cannot see fear. What does fear look like? Describe it to me. Does it have long hair, short hair? Does it have hair at all? You know what I'm saying? What does fear look like? Now turn around and tell me what faith looks like. What's the features of it? You know, give me a full-blown description so I can draw it out on a piece of paper. What does it look like? You don't know. None of us do.
Unknown.
It's unknown. Fear and faith require us to believe in something that we cannot see. You've mentioned this word in multiple episodes in this series, and the word is uncertainty. Uncertainty for me is, hey, this could happen or it might not happen. Mm-hmm. Uncertainty is the place in the middle. That's what that is for me. And when you have to believe in anything, because whether you like it or not, you believe in something. You believe in something, whether it's faith for us, whether it's a godly way of living for us, or it's the latter, or it's something else. There are people who put their faith in entertainers and in athletes, and there are people who put their faith in the school systems and in getting into these prestigious universities. And look, I ain't knocking it, man. I have kids. I want my kids to go to Harvard and get straight A's. Like, I'm with that. I'm with all of that. You know what I'm saying? But there are certain people who are cut just a little bit differently, you know what I'm saying, because of what they actually believe in. And I thought it was so interesting that is a similarity between faith and fear, is the fact that you still cannot see them.
Right.
And everybody always gives us a hard time because it's like, oh, these boys got all this faith that things are going to happen and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, well, you do too.
Right.
You do too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yours may be geared towards something differently than mine, but the source of it is still unknown and you still believe in it. That's just my opinion, though. I'm not a doctor.
No, I like it. I mean, the unknown is always around us. So in that unknown, you're making a choice. So you're making a choice to have fear, or you're making a choice to have faith. And the difference in that is, what is your trust in God to allow you to be different in those situations, in those decisions that you're making. And it's so huge, man. And it can really like set you free.
I do.
In a lot of different ways.
You know, another thing about this too, man, is that whatever it is that you do believe in, whatever that is, it bleeds through your kingdom.
It does.
It bleeds through. If you are a fear-based person, everyone knows you're a fear-based person. The quality of your relationships are based off of fear. Like, it's the overbearing people, right? The people that want to hold on to everything because they're afraid of letting go, right? Like, and that's just one of many examples that we could literally go down a rabbit hole and sit here and describe. But when you have a faith-based relationship and it's bleeding through, you can let certain things go. You can do what and you'll hear it all the time because you'll be like, well, what made you do that? And you're like, oh, man, I just feel like everything's going to work out. Oh, heck no, man, that's dumb, man, that's stupid. Why would you do that, man? You would never catch me dead doing that. Okay, that's cool. But how's that working out for you, right? Like, that's what I mean by fear and faith requires us to believe in something that we cannot see.
I like what you said there. Allow it, like, that faith and that fear bleeds into your life. So if you have a faith-based relationship with anything, it changes every aspect of your life. It changes the way you view your finances, the way you view your marriage, the way you view your friends. If it's faithful, that world becomes something that is truly special, and it's awesome.
That's right.
It's awesome to have.
That's right, man. Listen, for me, I think that faith is one of those things that sustains, and I think that fear is one of those things that destroys.
Yeah.
And so when you mention your finances, if you have a fear of your finances, you will hang on to it for dear life. You will prevent yourself from being able to have some incredible experiences and memories and moments in your life because you're so afraid that the outcome isn't going to go the way, or, oh no, how are we going to do this and how are we going to do that? Like, same with your marriage, you know, same with relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend, like fiance, like engagements. If you're afraid that that person's going to step out and do something, first of all, you shouldn't even be with that person if you're afraid they're going to step out and do something. But if you're afraid of getting your heart broken, and you're afraid of, you know, having to endure heartache at the hands of a breakup, you know, because things aren't just going to work out, like, you'll always self-sabotage, and everything that could have been will never be. And you'll always run into a wall in everything that you do because you don't have the freedom of being able to experience all that comes with it, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Listen, man, just don't paralyze yourself with fear. Enhance yourself with faith. And that's what it's all about.
Come on, man. We're putting that on a t-shirt, bro. Listen, man, we at time right now, man. Please do not miss the conclusion of this series where we talk about fear in a way that I think most people kind of scratch their heads and try to figure this out. We'll peel the onion back. You already know who it is. It's your boy, Dave Vito. It's Jerome. We are Dead Religion, and we are out.